Before Michael Jordan redefined basketball and Pelé revolutionized soccer, hockey had Bobby Orr. However, his story is not what you might expect. Imagine a 14-year-old boy from a small Canadian town who would go on to become the only player in NHL history to win all 4 major awards in a single season. But here's the shocking part. His legendary career ended at just 30 years old. If you love untold stories of hockey's greatest legends, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We are on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and with your support, we can unlock even more incredible NHL stories. Now, let's dive into how a small-town kid changed hockey forever. Bobby Orr was born in Parry Sound, Ontario, a town far removed from the bright lights of professional hockey. Unlike most future stars who dominate from an early age, Orr was an underdog. He was severely undersized and often overlooked. However, what he lacked in physical stature, he more than made up for with supernatural skating ability. His speed and agility on the ice caught the attention of the Boston Bruins, who saw something in him that others had missed. The Bruins were so convinced of Orr's potential that they took an unprecedented step. They secretly funded an entire junior hockey team, the Oshawa Generals, just to develop him. By the time he was 17 years old, Bobby Orr was not just playing hockey, he was rewriting its rules. In an era when hockey players gratefully accepted whatever salary and conditions their teams offered, Orr did something unheard of. He demanded his worth. He transformed from an undersized kid into a physical specimen, standing 6 feet tall and weighing close to 200 pounds. But his impact on hockey went far beyond just his physicality. Partnering with lawyer and agent Alan Eagleson, Orr challenged the entire system of player contracts and representation. He was determined to change not just how the game was played, but how players were treated and compensated. And if you think that was impressive, just wait until you hear what happened next. In 1966, the NHL saw something that had never happened before. The Boston Bruins signed an 18-year-old Bobby Orr, making him the highest-paid player in NHL history at the time. But why would a struggling team bet everything on a teenager? The answer became clear during preseason games. The Bruins, initially unsure how to utilize Orr's talent, experimented by playing him at center. However, what they soon discovered shocked everyone. His defensive skills were even more extraordinary than his offensive abilities. Orr was a rare type of player. He could score goals at will while also clearing the crease with the physicality of a veteran enforcer. His ability to block shots with pinpoint precision made him the ultimate two-way player. The Bruins had struck gold. Bobby Orr's rookie season was nothing short of legendary. He shattered nearly every scoring record for a defenseman, won the Calder Trophy as the NHL's best rookie, and made the All-Star team. However, despite his individual brilliance, the Bruins finished with one of their worst records in franchise history: 17 wins, 43 losses, and 10 ties. Even more concerning, Orr missed 9 games due to a knee injury. At the time, it seemed like a minor setback, but it was actually the beginning of a tragic flaw that would haunt his otherwise perfect hockey story. The question was no longer whether Bobby Orr would change hockey forever. The real question was whether his body would let him finish what he started. The 1967-68 season began with a cruel twist. Bobby Orr's knee injuries limited him to just 46 games. However, while Orr battled his injuries, the Bruins made a franchise-altering move. They executed a blockbuster trade, acquiring Phil Esposito, Ken Hodge, and Fred Stanfield from the Chicago Blackhawks. The impact was immediate. The Bruins' win total skyrocketed from 17 to 37, and for the first time in a decade, playoff hockey returned to Boston. Despite playing only half the season, Orr still won the Norris Trophy as the league's best defenseman. However, the Bruins' playoff dreams were shattered by the Montreal Canadiens, who swept them out of the postseason. Still, one thing was clear. The Bruins were no longer the league's punching bags. In 1968, Bobby Orr unleashed something the NHL had never seen before. He did not just break records, he obliterated them. Orr finished the season with 21 goals and 43 assists, numbers that seemed impossible for a defenseman. The Bruins were no longer just competing, they were dominating. But success came at a cost. In the first round of the playoffs against the Toronto Maple Leafs, Orr suffered a devastating hit from Pat Quinn. The bone-crushing impact left him unconscious on the ice. The crowd fell silent. Hockey's new king was down. But like all great stories of redemption, Orr returned and led the Bruins to victory. Unfortunately, their journey was once again ended by the Montreal Canadiens. This time, however, the Bruins had learned their lesson. They were not just losing, they were evolving. And what happened next would change the hockey world forever. 1970 was the year Bobby Orr became a hockey god. He scored 33 goals, added 87 assists, and finished the season with 120 points, unheard of numbers for a defenseman. But what came next would be immortalized in hockey history. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Overtime. The Bruins versus the St. Louis Blues. Orr skated into the offensive zone, took a pass from Derek Sanderson, and fired the puck into the net. As he scored, a defender tripped him, sending him soaring through the air. His arms raised in triumph, frozen in midair as the puck crossed the goal line. The Boston Garden erupted. The Bruins' 29-year championship drought was over. That moment, forever captured in an iconic photograph, became known as the flying goal. Today, a bronze statue of Bobby Orr in mid-flight stands outside TD Garden, symbolizing one of the greatest moments in hockey history. Despite reaching the pinnacle of hockey, Bobby Orr's knees were failing him. By 1975, at just 27 years old, he was playing in excruciating pain. The Bruins, seeing their superstar struggle to walk some nights, hesitated to offer him a long-term contract. His agent, Alan Eagleson, painted the Bruins as villains, leading Orr to sign a groundbreaking deal with the Chicago Blackhawks, $3 million over 30 years. However, Orr, knowing his body was failing him, refused to accept money he felt he could not earn. This decision defined his character. In an era where money was becoming the dominant force in sports, Orr chose integrity over wealth. Bobby Orr played only 26 games for the Blackhawks before his knees forced him into retirement. He was just 30 years old. Despite his shortened career, his impact on hockey remains eternal. 9 hat tricks as a defenseman, a record that still stands. A career plus-minus of plus 582 in just 657 games, a level of dominance no other player has achieved. He did not just play hockey, he reinvented it. While other stars slowly faded, Bobby Orr's light was snuffed out at its brightest. His career ended too soon, but his legend will live forever. If you enjoyed this deep dive into hockey history, make sure to subscribe. We are racing toward 1,000 subscribers, and we have even more incredible stories lined up. Let us know in the comments which NHL legend you want to hear about next. Until then, keep your stick on the ice.